Welcome to my channel. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. One of WWE's most beloved young stars, Roman Reigns, paid homage to the original Bloodline leader during this year's NXT Vengeance Day. It is possible that this is the star's last match. Ethan Page and Kevin Evans have been at odds for months. Page brutally assaulted Evans in December of last year, fracturing his jaw in the process. The 20-year-old celebrity sought payback for Page, but couldn't participate due to medical reasons. Nevertheless, Dr. David Cohen said on last week's WWE NXT that Evans has received medical clearance to face Page at Vengeance Day. Cohen did mention, though, that this bout might potentially be Evans' last one if his jaw fractures again. It was a mostly back-and-forth affair when the two superstars eventually faced off at the most recent WWE NXT event. But Kevin Evans blasted his opponent with a Superman punch during the bout as an homage to Roman Reigns. In the end, Ethan Page prevailed despite Kevin Evans' heroic efforts. Page seized command of the contest in its closing stages and went on to win. Following this defeat, it will be intriguing to see the plans for Evans' future that the Stamford-based promotion has. Electricity swept the arena. Tonight was going to be more than your average night of WWE action, so the Madison Square Garden audience was understandably pumped up. Something unique was in the air tonight. A silent homage entwined with a last struggle, a goodbye that had yet to be uttered. At the heart of it all was 20-year-old Jackson Steele, one of WWE's youngest rising stars. A brilliant prodigy, he had spent the last 2 years building a reputation for himself and leaving an indelible mark on the world. However, he was not thinking about his own path tonight. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, was the man who had inspired him and defined an era. Tonight, his heart pounded for him. For more than a decade, Reigns has been WWE's rock, exuding an aura of legendary power. However, he was starting to feel the effects of aging, injuries, and the wear and tear of battle inside the squared circle. Some thought this may be his last fight, and he might be retiring from the sport that had given him immortality. In that case, Jackson understood he needed to savor every moment of this evening. The scene was prepared for the long-awaited main event fight between Jackson Steele and Roman Reigns, a feud that had been building for centuries. It pitted the next generation against their elders, the young against the old. Additionally, Jackson had the opportunity to express his gratitude. Something shifted as Roman's theme tune began to play. The stadium resounded with the echoes of Head of the Table, and his name was screamed by the spectators. Reigns strode confidently to the ring, wearing his trademark black vest, his damp hair neatly pulled back, and his intense gaze fixed on the canvas, as if he had always owned it. As he stood in the ring, Jackson took it all in. He had other goals than winning, come to pay his respects to the one who had come before him. The match sprang into life as soon as the bell sounded. Roman continued his dominating performance, sending younger sensation Jackson sprawling to the floor with a resounding shoulder tackle. Despite the veteran's heavy-handed attacks, Jackson resisted and countered with his own high-flying assault, demonstrating resilience and quickness on his feet. Roman was knocked out cold with a springboard kick that landed square on his jaw. Appropriate applause followed the gasps from the audience. A growing sense of urgency washed over Jackson. For him, this was an important occasion. Still in shock, Roman pulled a surprising move. He retreated, clenched his fist, and imitated Reigns' distinctive posture. Recognizing the homage unfolding before him, a grin slowly spread over the tribal chief's face. Jackson unleashed a wild scream before rushing forward, Superman punch in hand. Roman was sent down to the mat as the move hit flush. The audience went wild. Using the same weapons that Roman had used to build his empire, Jackson was paying respect in the most fitting manner. However, Roman had more to say. Recognizing the motion, he lifted himself up with a smile. Deep inside Jackson, the collision jolted him. When he landed on the mat, he felt as if he had been severed in two. As the official lowered himself for the pin attempt, The spectators kept track of the count. It was another shout from the crowd. A nod of permission was offered by Roman. He was a good child. Still, the game was far from done. Rising to their feet, the two guys gasped for air. This was going to need Jackson to delve deeply. He knew it. A fight befitting Roman's name should have been fought if this was his last encounter. Jackson performed something out of the ordinary, using all the energy he had remaining. As a characteristic Roman preparation for the spear, he ducked into a corner, knelt down, and pounded his fist on the mat. A bell sounded. That was it. Impossible task accomplished by Jackson. The tribal chief was vanquished by him. For a moment, the ring was silent, but then the audience started cheering. It didn't matter to Jackson, however. Not to bask in the glory, however. Rather than that, he showed Roman the respect that was due him by reaching out a hand. Roman raised his eyes to meet the young man's as he gasped for air. Finally, he lifted himself up by grabbing Jackson's hand, nodding as he did so. The stadium was filled with a muted sense of respect as Roman removed his glove, tightened his fist, and touched Jackson's chest, a representation of the bloodline's regard. Returning the gesture, Jackson's eyes gleamed with intense affection. It wasn't only a handing up of responsibilities. It was a sign that Roman's legacy would go on via the people he had influenced. Roman halted as he turned to go, turning to gaze back at the multitude of supporters who had accompanied him for years. To show his gratitude for the support that had gotten him through each fight, he lifted his arm one more time. Knowing that this bout and this night would live on in Jackson's memory, she watched as he sped up the ramp. More than that, it was a triumph. A guy who had revolutionized the concept of a champion was honored in this way. Standing proudly in the arena, Jackson knew the tribal chief's legacy would endure forever. For the simple reason that people who carry the legend's legacy forward ensure that it will never die.